So we were discussing about, just I told the overview about how to create your symbol maps and your field maps. So I hope you all remember about the edit location, what I told you. If there is some of unknown fields, so you just need to click on the unknown fields, or you can go here and go for your edit locations. So in edit locations, if you find any of the fields is being not matching, so you can check your hierarchy, and then if like you can check with the drop down if the spellings or due to something your fields are not matching. And still if you are not able to find in the drop downs also, you can map your latitudes and longitudes. These are the three ways you can map your unknown locations. Okay. Next we are going to discuss about the background maps. In background maps you see, like mostly Tableau uses the online maps. The online maps, or else if you want to use it, if you are not connected to your network, in that cases you can go for your offline maps. Okay, next is your background images, I will tell you. Next is your geocoding. So geocoding in the sense, so Tableau automatically recognizes some of the geographical fields, like if it is going to be country, state. So in those cases, Tableau automatically recognizes your geographical fields. So if you see here also, we have the various geographical roles. Okay, when you have some areas where Tableau could not recognize it. Okay, so one way we saw is editing your locations, right? When it is couldn't recognize some locations, if it is unknown or unrecognized, you just go to your edit location and then you give your values, like you're searching with your drop down from the matching locations, or you're checking your hierarchy, and still if you're not able to find it, you're plotting with your longitudes and latitude values. So if I have like 2-3 fields like that, it's fine. I can directly search my latitude, longitude values, I can plot it. But if I have like so many values which Tableau couldn't recognize, like a very small areas, if I have like some of the cities would be very small, it would be like a very small geographical areas, or if I want to plot number of airports in a particular city or number of hospitals, libraries in a particular area, those kind of small areas, if Tableau couldn't recognize, in those cases what we can do is we have some option called as custom geocoding. Okay, so I'm going to have my latitudes and longitudes in a separate CSV file, and I'm going to import that CSV file into Tableau so that it helps you to plot the small areas which Tableau couldn't recognize. So it helps to plot those geographical areas. For example, let me take an example. So I have connected to this data source called as Florida small towns. Okay, in Florida small towns, I have some country, state and city. So I've just connected to a data source where I have the small towns in my Florida. So when I click on country, it is able to recognize it is United States. So when I click on state, it is able to recognize it is Florida. But when I click on city, it could not able to recognize those cities because they may be like small towns in Florida. So Tableau couldn't recognize those areas. So if it is just 5 values, you can click on the unknowns, you can go for your edit location, you can map your latitude and longitude values easily. But when I have too much of values, in that case is what I can do is I can import my longitude and latitude for those values through a CSV file. So go to your maps, go to geocoding, you have something called import custom geocoding. So you should create a CSV file which has the corresponding latitude and longitudes for those cities and just put it in a folder. So I have that file in my map source folder. Okay, So I have the geocoding file in my map source folder. So I'm going to plot with those. So you just need to select the folder. You don't need to select the file. Just select the folder where you have the CSV file and give import. So when you are importing, you should close all the other instances of your Tableau. It will not accept until you close all the other instances. Okay, maps, geocoding, import custom geocoding and import. So it will take some times because even though I have this only 5 cities, it will cross check with all its matching locations whether that 5 cities is available. Only if it is not available, it will be pointing taking that values from the CSV file. That's why so if you see here the number of rows retrieved has been keep on changing, right? We have only 5 values, but it shows more values. So it cross checks with all the values which is already by there in default. Tableau has some matching locations, right? So it just cross checks with that.
let
It
it
will get imported.
let
Yeah,
it.
it will get imported.
So meanwhile, is that anybody has any other questions? Gopi, do you have any other questions? So far, have you tried anything?
Actually, I have one question here. Like in the CSV file, what are the things that will be available? Like only cities and longitude, latitude, or some other things
No,
also
it
available?
will have the hierarchy, complete hierarchy, country, state, city, latitude, longitude.
Okay, okay. It kind of hierarchical field. It should be
Yes,
like starts with country and then okay.
yes.
Okay, fine.
Why it is taking this much time? It's almost imported. If we are referencing through a geocoding file, you could see this data type symbol changes here. You could see the geographic field symbol with the small box here. So this actually says that we have used your custom geocoding file to plot your areas, and this file would be available in your local cache. So until you remove this geocoding file, like other instances or whatever Tableau instances you open also, the same file would be referenced. So it would be there in your local repository until you go and remove this file from your repository. And also when you send as a packaged workbook also, this geocoding file, this external file will also be sent as your packaged workbook. Okay. Finally, we have this 5 cities plotted here. So these 5 cities is being plotted using that CSV file which we have imported here. So if you go to your geocoding, we have imported some files. So until you remove this custom geocoding file, it would be referenced when you open the other instances of your Tableau also. If it files the city column, that file would be automatically refreshed. Any questions on custom geocoding? So the custom geocoding, actually you can do the same thing with your, so you can do the same thing with your data blending also. So data blending also we can do the same thing, like you can have your CSV file, you can have your Excel file where you have the original data source, and then you can have your CSV file. So in CSV file, then you can have import your CSV file with your Excel file. You can do a data blending and then you can bring the same data. But there are some difference between your custom geocoding and your data blending. So in custom geocoding, actually you can create a new hierarchy also, but that is not possible. For example, in case of custom geocoding, if I have city, if I want to plot my hospitals in that particular city or a particular area or a particular town, I can create some new hierarchy, okay, and I can plot it. But that is not possible in case of data blending. Data blending, so if I have city in my Excel, I have city in my CSV file, I would be creating a relationship with both, and then I can plot my values. So, but in case of your custom geocoding, where you can create your new hierarchies also. My system is switched. Next, let's see about how to choose different map layers, background maps, those details and all. So here I have created as just a normal symbol map. So you can choose various background layers. So if you go to your map layers, so you have various options. First is your background style. So your background style, we have three types. That is, either you can go for your, by default it would be in a light background, else you can go for your normal background. So your normal background will be like this. So it will show that coastal areas with a light blue color. Then you can go for your dark background also. So this is your dark background. So either you can go for your normal background, or you can go for your light background, or you can go for your dark background. So when you are choosing your background, you can also choose the washout also, like how dark it needs to be or how light it needs to be. You can just set the washout percentage also. By default it would be on your light background. So the apart from your map areas, if you want to have the same background for the other areas also, which is not apart from your map areas, in that cases you give the repeat background. So when you give repeat background, so other areas would also be repeated with your same background. And also we have these map layers. So the map layers, some map layers would be already checked in, that is, it would show your base, land cover and all. So some map layers would not be checked. For example, if I want to show the coastal lines, so if I check this coastal lines, you could see the coastal lines, an additional border would be added on your coastal lines. Maybe I can put it as normal. Okay, if I remove coastal lines, the border is not there. If I add coastal lines, so there is an additional border that is being added on your coastal line. Same you can add, like if you have streets and highways in your data source information, you can add borders for your streets and highways. So this shows your country and region borders and country and region border name. It doesn't show your state borders or state names. So if I want to include the state borders and the state names. Same if I want to show some kind of US metro boundaries. So you can add different layers to your according to your maps. Okay, so these are all the default map layers that is being available in Tableau itself. In case if I want to have a map layer specific to some maps, in that cases we have to go for our external maps. That let's see after this. Okay, apart from this, you have this data layer also. So this data layer will give you some kind of census information that you can show on your maps. For example, by default it has all the US related information. Okay, in case if I want to show the male female ratio, so you can choose different color codings also. So if you see this male female ratio, so you have the legends also here. Okay, so here we have a good male female ratio on these part of your states, and then we have some kind of moderate male female ratio, and we have some kind of very low male female ratio. So you can add different census information. In case if I want to show the population growth, so population growth across these states. So we have these, by default we have all these census information related to United States. If you want to go for specific countries, or if you want to go for specific countries or states or any other geographical informations, in that cases we can import our own map layers or your data layers using your external maps or using your WMS maps. That we are going to discuss after this. So next is your map layers, background maps. We have two things called, as I told you, how to integrate with your external maps. Because mostly when we work with real-time projects, real-time applications, when you want to create some map visualization, it would be like for a specific country or a specific state or some kind of specific geographical information. And you would be having, you want to impose like different background styles, so you would be having lot of requirements related to that. In that cases, we can also buy some maps from the external map vendors. So we have lot of external map vendors, so you can also buy some kind of external styles or templates, and then you can integrate with your Tableau. So by default you would be able to integrate the map styles from your map box. So if you go to your map services, you have two things. First is your Mapbox maps. So Mapbox is a vendor who gives different map styles. If you go to your Mapbox website, So you would be having lot of predefined styles. Also, you would be having lot of data sets and style information where you can create your own background style, and you can also purchase that and you can use it in your Tableau. So your Mapbox is a kind of a vendor who provide different background style maps. So you can create your free account in your mapbox.com, and when you create your account, for every user they would be giving you a default token. Okay, if you see here, you have something called my access token. Okay, so when you are integrating your Mapbox maps with Tableau, you have two things, that is your Mapbox GL and your classic. When you are going to go for a very particular style you are going to create in your Mapbox, or you're going to purchase some kind of styles, in that cases you have to go for your purchase account. So you can just create some styles in your Mapbox and then you can purchase it. So when you are purchasing it, they would be giving you the access token with specific to that particular style. So when you put that access token, automatically your user ID layer, everything would be, so they would be giving a URL. When you put this URL, automatically your access token, username, layer ID, everything would be fetched. In classic, already you have some kind of predefined style, background style maps. Okay, so in order to use this predefined styles, you can use that default access token, which you are getting for free by creating an account in your mapbox.com website. So you can just copy this default access token, go here and put your access token. So you can use any of these predefined styles. For example, if I'm going to use satellite, so the background of my map would be in the form of the satellite. Okay, so like that you can use various predefined styles. You can use the same access token. In case if I want to use emerald, so you can use various styles and you can just change your backgrounds according to that styles. You can use either any of these styles, emerald, or you can use satellite. So these are all predefined styles. Or else if you want to create your own style, or you're going to purchase some kind of styles, in that cases you have to purchase it, and when you are purchasing they would be giving you a URL. Using that URL you can automatically fetch your access tokens, user IDs and everything. You can use those styles also. So now if you see in your map layers, you are having Mapbox satellites. So this is like instead of your normal map layers, you are going for the specific map layers to be shown at your background maps. You have one more map services called WMS maps, that is your Web Map Services Protocol. It's a kind of a protocol. So here you have to give the particular URL of your WMS server. So you can get, if you go to Google and if you put WMS servers, you would be getting a lot of free WMS URLs also. So that it is, those are mainly built using the GIS database. So you can use that for different types of layers. So I already have some kind of WMS URLs. I will just use one of them. So this background is related to the WMS URL which I have added now. So WMS for JEPCO Global Bathymetric Grid. If you go to your map layers, you could see different layers related to this WMS URLs. So I can add whatever layer I want. So you can also, so this WMS URLs, whatever you are using it, right? So you have option to export and import also. So when you are going to export it, it would be saved with the extension .tms, that is your Tableau map source file. If you already have any other Tableau map source file also, you can import it. So if I am importing for world map, see, when I add this world map, I have all these map layers like countries. I could show the topography, hills, coastlines, water bodies, rivers, trails, borders, cities. Also, these are all would be shown on your map layer. So you can either import or export your WMS map. So it would be saved with the it would be saved with the extension .tms, that is your Tableau map source file. So next thing with respect to maps is, so in maps you have something called map options. So this map option will allow you, if you want to go for pan and zoom, so you can use your pan and zoom, or else if you want to go for some specific area, if you want to search it, if you want to show the map scale, you can choose the units, whether it needs to be automatic or metrics or US. Okay, or else if you want to, if you don't want to view this toolbar, you can remove this toolbar. If you want to view it, you can put it. So you here also, if I want to zoom, so I can zoom for this particular area. You have zoom in, zoom out, and if you click on this reset map, it would be resetted back to your default position. You can also search. So if I'm searching, like it will be default, it would be give me 5 search values if I'm searching for a particular word or a letter. So if I want to search California, so it takes me to the California. Again, you can click here to reset your maps. So this, you also use this radial selections or lasso selections, or else if I want to go for zoom area or pan, so you can also go for your, if you, these types of pan zooms, or kind of a rectangular selection, like where you can go for exclude, keep, like how we discussed about in groups, right? So if I want to keep only these values or exclude, if I want to create a group or a set based on the map values, I can go for this selection, or else I can go for this radial selection or the lasso selection. Okay, if you don't want this toolbar, go to your maps, map options, remove this toolbar. So apart from this, you have something called as background images. So you can add different background images also. So in maps you have some background. If I want to add some kind of, if I want to add some background images, in that cases I can add this background images to my Tableau using this one. So you can click on your background images, you can add your image. So in case if I am placing this floor plan, you have to give the proper X and Y coordinates. In only in that cases it would be properly fit. Let me take another sheet. So this was actually how to add your, so this was actually a dashboard that was built to show only the hospital floor plan based on the 5 floors. So if you see here, let me go to that sheet. So just they have added a floor plan using this background images. So there are for that 5 floors, they have added the 5 floor plans. Just you have to put your x coordinates and your y coordinates properly in order to fit your image. So you have to browse your image and place your x and y coordinates properly, and then you have to choose the option. So always show entire image, lock aspect ratio, and then you have to give OK. Okay, so that you can use your different background images on Tableau. So this was a dashboard that was built with just to show the floor plan of a hospital. If you see this, so this is the front look of your hospital and different floor plans. So you can also add background images in your map options. So apart from this, we have like polygon maps. Polygon maps in the sense, so when I have like very small areas, as I told you, when I'm going to plot very small areas, right? So your small areas would be, you would be, for example, if I want to plot some hospitals in a particular city or area or something, that would be a very small geographical areas which would be scattered around. So each one would be in a very separate place, and it would be like very scattered, so you cannot identify easily. In that cases, when you have those types of maps, we go for this polygon maps. So what your polygon maps actually do in the sense, in your data source file, when you are having those types of geographical information, that is very small areas, when you want to plot those small areas into your maps, like a park, if you want to park the number of parks in a particular area or a particular cities, or if I want to park the number of hospitals, or if I want to show like those cases, if you see here, these types of values would be actually scattered around. So in that cases, we would be adding something called point ID or a polygon ID. It is just a numbering. Okay, you are going to just number. So if I have 100 hospitals in that particular city, I'm just going to create one more column called point ID, and I will just do a indexing on those number of. So if I have like 100 hospitals, I would be indexing like 1 to 100. And what I'm going to do is, when I'm creating my maps, I have something called polygons. So in polygons, you have something called path. So you would be placing this point ID into that path. So what will happen is, it is going to connect all those small areas, and it will give us the entire geographical area which connects all those 100 hospitals or 100 whatever we wish to show in our geographical maps. So in that cases, we go for the polygon maps. Okay. So these are all the map options we have when you are creating your maps in Tableau. That is, first thing is your basic maps, your map symbol maps, your field maps, and then you can go for your custom geocodings, edit locations. If it is not able to recognize some fields, you can go for your edit location. In case if it is still, if you want to, if it is not able to recognize, or if you have more values to plot, in that cases you can go for your custom geocoding. For different types of background maps, you can go for Mapbox maps, or you can go for your WMS maps, or else you can go for different map options to pan, zoom, to select, or you can go for polygon maps to connect your small geographical areas in the maps. Apart from this, now like recent versions, you have, so you can connect your shape files also. So we have something called spatial files, where you can connect your space files also. So if you have some shape files, you can connect it and you can create your maps. So you can download different of shape files from the Google or JS database, and you can create your map. So this was like having some park related information and what all the facilities we have in that park. Okay, I just got the shapefile. If I want to create a map using that, so you have to double click on the geometric field. So it automatically places all the park, and I can put my facility into the tooltip. So you can connect to your shapefile. So this shapefiles was introduced from your Tableau 10.2 version 1. So you can also directly connect. So you don't need any kind of, if you just want to show only your map information based on your shapefiles, you don't need to create any data source or database or Excels or anything. You can just connect with your shapefiles and you can create your map visualizations. So any questions so far?
Yeah, go ahead, Faisal. Your questions. Please type your questions.
Yeah, you can do that actually. This is what you're asking? Or after connecting to the path? Okay. It is not connected. We can do that actually. So this was some data source which has the small town areas. Okay, I'm just connecting to this data source. So this is your point order. Let me connect with that another one also. So your point order should be a dimension. So point order should be placed on your path. Then I can put my town into the colors. This is what you're asking? So you can show the why I added sample data is to show the different metrics. If I want to associate the different metrics,
I think
then I can put it.
I think his question is, you want to show the different distance. For example, I have a currently in California, and New York has
Okay.
some different 5 parks. In California, I have some parks. So, for example, 100 hospitals are there. For each hospital,
Okay.
from one hospital to another hospital, how much of the distance from the each hospital, how to represent this area in a different color.
You mean the radial distance?
I think so. That's the point he's trying to say. If we want to color of the area to change based on the distance from the point. Faisal, okay. So yes. So for example, 100 hospitals are there. First hospital is having a 10 kilometer. Another two hospital is around 40 kilometers distance. Another four hospital is around 100 kilometer distance. So each hospital is representing different region, maybe different location. The distance is different. So I want to represent 10 kilometers hospital.
I don't think that we can do. You can use your radial tool before using that polygon maps. When you have the different scattered information, you can use the radial tool to measure the distance, but whether we can show with a different color, I am not aware. I think we cannot do that.
Okay, that's fine.
So before using this point order, right? So when your points are just, let me change it to the normal math. So when so I can calculate the radial distances. Maybe I can calculate some radial distances. But I don't know whether we can show this with different colors, those options or not. I will just confirm and tell you, because I have not tried or I have not used. I will just confirm and I will tell you.
Thank you. So anybody has any other question? Gopi, do you have any question? Faisal, do you have any? Yeah, Faisal, go ahead with your another doubt.
Okay. Workbook or worksheet? Your worksheet is your individual sheet. Okay. You mean you want to duplicate the worksheet for another data source within the same workbook or with different workbooks? Within the same workbook, you can duplicate it, and then you have to switch over to the another data source which you have connected through data blending or something. When it shares the common fields. Okay.
So we'll move back.
Anyone else?
Gopi, you have any questions? Vicky, do you have any questions? Varun, do you have any question? Okay, so let's understand. Vicky, how are you progressing? So what are the things you are doing on the Tableau? Are you trying for worksheet? Are you trying for the project activities? Gopi, how are you doing? So last week you made some worksheet, right?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. Actually, I am the what are the concepts are available. I am practicing actually. So till I didn't start that project work actually.
So you understand the project, what you have to do, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So please try that. I'll share some of the videos also. If I've not shared anything previously, tonight I'll share that. I saw your message also. I'll share that video also. Go through those videos.
Yeah.
Kickstart your project. Faisal, you have to kickstart your project. It's time to kickstart. Vicky, we have to kickstart the project.
Okay.
Thank you all for joining. We'll meet up on the next follow-up session.
Thanks everyone.
Okay.